Smokers, ladies and gentlemen, Warren Buffett has been making some moves out there. I want to go ahead and take you guys through some of the biggest buys and some of the biggest sells Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has done over the past quarter. The filing just came out recently. I want to take you guys through this and talk about all these different positions he's been adding to, and also a couple positions he sold off heavily of that we got to discuss here. Now, he's not the only person that invests in companies in Berkshire Hathaway. He has two other guys, Todd and Ted, that also run money in Berkshire Hathaway. So just because we're going to see some of these shares got bought, some of these shares got sold, it doesn't 100% mean it was him making that decision. It could have also been Todd or Ted there. Now, if you're new to investing, you don't know who Warren Buffett is. Warren Buffett is a pretty interesting guy, okay? He's the third richest man in the world, net worth well over $80 billion. He's had a huge ownership stake in a company he bought a long time ago, Berkshire Hathaway, that he's just continued to build throughout time. It owns a massive amount of brands, 100% ownership of, and then also he has a ton of huge ownership stakes in a ton of massive companies out there, all right? You can kind of pause that screenshot if you want to look more into it. As far as his net worth is one of the most interesting things to me when I look at him over time. It's not like he just got super rich overnight or something like that. He built up to this, okay? So if you go back to age 26, he had about $140,000. By age 30, he was at about $1 million. It took him till he was already in his 40s where it became worth $34 million. Then it took him all the way until around age 55, somewhere around there, until he hit an actual $1 billion mark. And now he's worth $80 billion plus, by the way. If he hadn't given away so much money already to charity and whatnot over the years, he'd be worth well over $100 billion right now. He'd probably be the richest man in the world. It'd be between him and Bezos. But the most interesting thing is a lot of people nowadays, when you look at some of the rich lists, someone like Zuckerberg or some of these guys, they found a company, a tech company of some kind, it goes huge, and then all of a sudden they go from just being a regular average person in a dorm room or something like that, and next thing you know, they're a billionaire. Buffett really built up over time, all right? So let's get into this, guys. First one up here is Goldman Sachs. He bought 5.1 million shares of Goldman Sachs, and I would say there's probably going to be a lot more shares added in this upcoming quarter. Goldman Sachs has fallen substantially. I would say if he was buying 5.1 million shares in the past quarter, he probably was getting those shares for somewhere around $230 to $250 versus now he can get them for around close to $200 even. So if I had to guess, I would say he'll probably continue to buy some more Goldman Sachs. We'll see a lot of financials come up on this list. And if you're wondering about Warren Buffett, he's not scared to buy positions that go down in the short term. That's just his philosophy. It's the same philosophy as me. If you love a company, it goes down, you buy more of that company in the end, all right? The Travelers companies, this is an interesting position because this is the first time they've ever added shares at Berkshire Hathaway. They had no position in Travelers, but they added 3.5 million shares there of Travelers. Generally, if they just start adding shares, they generally add for many, many quarters and sometimes years out. So I would highly doubt they're done buying Travelers. That will probably be a continued position. PNC Financial Services. This is another one that's the first time they've ever bought shares. They had no ownership stake going into this past quarter, and now they own 6.1 million shares of PNC Financial Services. You're going to find a lot of the financial companies are trading at PE somewhere in the 9 to 11 range right now, and Warren Buffett really loves the financials. He's buying big stakes. A lot of these financials are bigger type companies. He believes in the American system. He believes in the United States of America, and if the United States of America does great over the long term, then a lot of these banking names should do very, very well for a long time to come. JP Morgan Chase is another one he added. He added around 35 million shares. This is the first time ever. JP Morgan Chase is about the biggest bank in the world you can possibly find out there in terms of the amount of assets they have. And JP Morgan Chase right now is trading at around 11 forward P on this company. 35 million shares of JP Morgan. If you're wondering how much money that was, it was just under a $4 billion stake at it in a 3-month span, guys. Absolutely incredible. This next position is very, very interesting. This one caught me by surprise, and I can almost guarantee you this was not one of Warren Buffett's ads. This was probably either Todd or Ted or both of them. I highly doubt Warren Warren Buffett actually bought this one, but it is the Oracle Corporation, all right? The Oracle Corporation, they added 41 million shares of Oracle Corporation, all right? This is the first time Berkshire's ever added shares of Oracle right now, trading at a forward P of somewhere around 14. Oracle, like I said, in my opinion, there's almost no way possible Warren Buffett is the one who bought Oracle, okay? And I'm not saying it's a bad stock or anything like that. I'm just saying it's so far out of the realm of something Warren Buffett would add of. It's a very different business model out there. It's a tech-related business. We know Buffett really doesn't like many techs unless it's something super easy to understand, like Apple's business model or something that's like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Oracle, like I said, I highly doubt Buffett bought this one. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Like I said, he probably didn't buy it. It's probably Todd or Ted. It's interesting to see like how much more they would continue to add to these shares. This boosted Oracle stock on the day. And by the way, if you're wondering, do things have to go through Warren Buffett? Like Todd or Ted, if they're buying, does it have to go through Warren Buffett? Absolutely not. Warren Buffett said in the past, if they want to add shares of a company, unless it's like some type of legal situation, like maybe they'll have too much of a ownership share or something like that out there, something legal wise, other than that, they don't even have to check with Warren Buffett. They can buy stocks as they please without even having to check with him. He's already vetted those guys very well. So they're very good fund managers, all right? Next one up here is Apple. They added another 522,000 shares of Apple this past quarter. And with Apple, how much has fallen? And in my opinion, I would say there's probably going to be millions of shares added by Berkshire in this current quarter we're in now, okay? 522,000 shares added last quarter. And I would say last quarter, they probably paid an average price of somewhere between $210 and $220 for those shares. Now that Apple has fallen under the $200 range, I wouldn't be surprised if you see them pick up at least 1 to 4 million shares of Apple in this quarter we're in now. That will be reported in about 3 months. Charlie Munger there, one of his partners, right? He said specifically that they'd been too controlled about buying Apple. Well, now listen, that Apple's back under $200 a share. I would say Buffett's going to be buying heavily. So in this next quarter, don't be surprised if you see several million shares bought by Berkshire Hathaway. And it's kind of a great thing if you're an Apple shareholder. You got Apple buying shares up left and right as their share buyback goes. And then you have Warren Buffett continuing to add his stake. So it will be very interesting to see. Don't be surprised if you see several million shares added by Berkshire in this upcoming quarter, all right? Bank of America, another big bank Buffett added. He added 198 million shares. No, not $198 million and added 198 million shares added of Bank of America in this past quarter, just adding to their stake. Buffett loves these big banks, all right? Delta Airlines is another one he added more of. 1.9 million shares added there. He loves the airlines. Airlines used to be one of those businesses that no one wanted a piece of, really, but over the past, let's say 5 years or so, a lot of big fund managers, Warren Buffett himself, have been buying the airlines, and a lot of people feel like it's a very consistent business model now, and it's not as volatile as it used to be, especially back in the 80s and 70s and whatnot, when all of a sudden an airline can go from making huge profits to taking massive losses and go out of business or something like that, all right? And another financials makes the list here, the Bank of New York Mellon Corporation. They added around 13 million shares there of the Bank of New York Mellon. I love their ticker symbol, not BK. Like, could you think of a worse ticker symbol, as in like bankrupt? Like, nothing worse than a ticker symbol of BK, all right? Now let's get into a couple positions he sold off of, okay? The first one up here is Phillips 66, ticker symbol PSX. He sold over 50% of that stake. I think it was around 55% of that stake in this current quarter. I don't think he likes a lot of the oil and gas names, anything involved with that, as nearly as much as he might have a decade ago. You can see his portfolio totals have changed dramatically over the years. As far as he used to be very heavy the oil and gas names, and over the last 5 years or so, I've seen him kind of decrease so many stakes in a lot of these bigger type oil and gas companies, and it just continues to be a trend he's getting out of these. Okay, and the next big sale is in Walmart. Okay, so this isn't the first time he started selling Walmart. He's been selling off Walmart for a long time. Had about 1.4 million shares left, and he ended up selling off the rest, all right? Walmart used to be one of Berkshire's 5 biggest positions, okay? I think at one time it was even up to like the 3rd or 4th biggest position that Berkshire held, but he's just been selling out of it for the last few years. I think he really understands how much of a big threat Amazon is, and I think he's just kind of wanted to get out of that position and just kind of be like, he made money in Walmart, and I think it's just one of those positions he's looking at Amazon, and maybe he doesn't like the valuation of Amazon, so he doesn't buy Amazon stock yet, right? But he looks at Amazon and he says, this is such a big, massive threat. I really don't want to be in a big retailer like Walmart that is honestly probably going to get their lunch eaten by Amazon over the next 5 to 10 years. Doesn't mean Walmart can't still be very profitable, but if they go from being the leader in retail to now they're the number 2 player there, that's a significant change in that business model, in the narrative around that company, and kind of what they can do in the future, because Amazon's just kind of, you know, come out over the past decade and just got in that forefront of shipping and getting people used to ordering online through Amazon, whereas, you know, people might have used to go to Walmart stores and whatnot, and people still do shop at Walmart like crazy, but you're going to see that trend continue to decline and decline as that business model declines, online becomes bigger, and Walmart still has to make a name for itself in online, and it's so far behind Amazon in the online game that they have to play catch up. So honestly, that's probably one of the biggest reasons that Buffett's just kind of got out of that. It will be interesting to see, does Warren Buffett at some point in time start to buy Amazon shares? We know Amazon's very profitable now. We know profitability is exploding for that company. We know Amazon Web Services is a growth beast for that company. Does Warren Buffett actually want to start buying Amazon shares at some point in time? That's one of the most intriguing questions I have in 2019. If Amazon shares, let's say, continue to fall down, let's say they go down to like $1,400 a share, you know, sometime soon, does Warren Buffett say, you know what, I understand this business model. He's spoken so positively on Jeff Bezos several times. He's spoken so positively on him. Is this all of a sudden the point where he says, you know what, let's start buying some Amazon? That's going to be a very intriguing thing to kind of see in 2019. Hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know if you think these are great buys out there, if you think they're bad buys, if you think, you know, selling out of Phillips 66 or more of Phillips 66 and completely selling out of Walmart was an intelligent decision. I would love to hear from you guys down there in that comment section as always. Thank you for watching and have a great day.